All right, so let's go ahead and get into a case lineup review for Caudabe for the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Now, of course, you've seen the dedicated videos talking about the Paragon Sheath and the Synthesis, but the Veil we haven't talked about yet, and we're going to do a little bit of talking because I feel like that's the red-headed stepchild of the cases when it comes to Caudabe. But what the case lineup video does is not to continually talk about the same cases. You know, a lot of you always blah, blah, blah. It's the biggest whiners in the comment section. But this video is basically kind of see what things are different wise, comparison wise to all of the Caudabe cases out there in the market. I know some of you kind of get of misrepresentation of which case means what. Like, is this case for protection? This is their minimal case. This is their all. So it's basically a kind of a conversation piece for some of you out there, which I know are having a hard time choosing which case you're going to order from Caudabe. This video hopefully helps you clear it up a little bit so you can see the differences in all the cases. So let's go ahead and move these to the side, and these are going to be the three that you've already talked about. We'll talk about these, but let's talk about the one that we haven't talked about that most people don't talk about, and that's going to be the Caudabe Veil case. Now, what this case is going to be that super paper thin type case, okay? And I know a lot of people, this may not appeal to you because, hey, not that much protection, doesn't have MagSafe. I understand, but there's some people out there that really love this case. And even Caudabe themselves said there are some people who are just diehard Veil people who just want that thin protection of not really drop protection, but like scrape and scratch protection, because you're not a person that really drops their phone. I'm pretty sure I could easily use a case like this, but let's go ahead and talk about it. Now, they're going to come in two different colors. This is going to be like the white frost, and they're going to have a black version that's also frosted as well. Very thin plastic, all right? Super paper thin. There isn't much when it comes to this case. As you can see right there, opening for your camera control button right there. Now, when it comes to the buttons, you're going to have your embedded buttons that does have those camera slits. Same thing with the volume up and down and the action button. Embedded buttons has those camera slits, but those buttons work very good in my opinion. Now, of course, no MagSafe on the bottom, open cutout for your Type-C, but you're going to get little dots in place of those areas that are normally cut out. Not enough material there, so of course, this is the route that you have to go about. And on the sides, I'm not sure if you're able to see it, but most of these thin cases don't have this, and Caudabe added grips that are very reminiscent to the Synthesis. They kind of feel that dot type textured, very Synthesis-like, and that just does better when we are talking about holding it onto the device. But slapping this case in, pretty good snap for a case like that. That's basically how it's going to look on the 17 Pro Max. Very thin. It feels like you're holding your 17 Pro Max naked, but yet it feels like you do have something up there where it gives you a little bit more confidence to just throw your phone down on surfaces. You don't have to read anything to worry about. And that's why I like the Veil. Now, a lot of things people complain about is going to be fit when it comes to these little cases. Now, even with the fit, it has pulling and tugging, but everything feels like it snaps right back into place. Now, will this case warp over time or do anything? Who knows? Time will tell when it comes to that. But I think they have a pretty good job when it comes to the fit. I mean, you heard the snaps on when I popped it on, but snapping it on, I mean, those are some confident snaps for a little thin case like this. So very nice grips on the sides, feel pretty good. Buttons, sorry, I was hit the mic. Buttons nice and clicky. So open camera control, I mean, for a case that's just there for bump, scratch protection, or anything like that, I feel the Veil does a very good job in doing so. The grips feel good, very thin, no MagSafe. Okay, let me go ahead and show you how the MagSafe would be. As you can see, it still pops on to MagSafe, and you still do have a little bit of strength there. So if you want to run something like that, you want to run a wallet, even though the wallet does move around, I mean, it is up there, you know what I mean? It does attach. So the MagSafe works. It's not very strong, okay? You're not going to put this on a motorcycle mount and go down the streets on a windy, curvy road, all right? You're not doing that, but the MagSafe does work if that's something you want to think about. So this is going to be the Caudabe Veil, all right? Super minimal style case, very thin, paper-like, but nice fit, nice buttons, nice grips on the sides to make this little paper thin case pretty attractable, if that's, you know, pretty attractive. I don't know what attractable is. Retractable. Look, you get what I'm saying. If you like this style case, man, if you never checked out the Veil from Caudabe, check it out, man. You might be surprised by it. And people who out there who just always wonder what that case is about, you might like it. All right, next, when we're talking about going down the lines in terms of protection, let's go ahead and talk about the Paragon. Now, when it comes to the Paragon, I feel like this is my favorite case that Caudabe makes right now for the 17 Pro Max. It definitely has a slimmer profile and feel in hand than the Sheath and the Synthesis. I mean, comparing it to the Synthesis, as you can see right there, it is going to be a little bit thinner when you're talking about comparing it to the Synthesis. And also comparing it to the Sheath, and you can see also it is a tad bit thinner. So if you're a person that says the Synthesis is too thick, if you're a person that says the Sheath is too bulky, that's why I feel like the Paragon sits nice in the middle when you're talking about between those two cases. Now, the Paragon is going to be those full camera plateau protection. Now, when it comes to that camera plateau, I love the material because they have this nice textured type material. It's not as shiny as this down below, but it's nice texture material, which you get that same texture feeling that goes around the sides of it somewhat. So very nice material, very precise cutouts in my opinion. On this back of the Paragon, this is going to be their kind of smooth, and this back kind of allows them to do some fun colors when it comes to the Paragon. Of course, they have that cosmic orange, if that's your thing in this Paragon, not cosmic orange, ember. That colorway, they have the orange, which is called Ember. Cosmic orange is that hideous color that you guys have on the 17 Pro Max. But I know they're going to shots fired when it comes to that. But it does have a nice smooth back. And in my opinion, this isn't too slippery. I know a lot of people see this and be like, oh, slippery. In my opinion, this back paired with these sides, which does have grips on the side, really gives you a good feeling when you're talking about gripping it. Of course, soft lining on the inside with those MagSafe. Let's go ahead and, I had to snap it on when it comes to that Paragon. And this is just a nice look. Now, when you put the Paragon on, or when you put just about any Caudabe case on, you will still see the color of your phone, especially when it comes to the rings around the layout and it comes to the little area. You can just see the rings. And in my opinion, that's just such a clean look when you're talking about it. Now, on those sides, of course, you are going to have those interchangeable buttons. You can order the buttons from Caudabe, so you can kind of mix and match and customize it to your liking, especially when you're talking about matching the actual 17 Pro Max and the colors of them. The silver buttons look very good on black cases. When it comes to that, you'll see that when it comes to the Frost Synthesis, but very nice side grips on the side, feel very good in my opinion. Camera control button that just works fantastic. I mean, all Caudabe's camera control buttons are just money. They feel very good. No issues right there. Buttons, very clicky buttons. All right, the buttons work just as clicky in all of them, but very tight fit. Okay, the Paragon has one of the tightest fits. I don't know, the Synthesis might have the tightest fit of all of them, but the Paragon also has a very, very nice confident fit. And when it comes to the top and bottom, it's going to have those little ski slope that's going to be raised on the top and raised on the bottom. So when you put it face down, that's not actually dropping on actual display, that's dropping on the material of the actual case. So when it comes to the Paragon, man, nice tight fit, full coverage when it comes to that camera plateau. You're going to get more fun colors, especially when it comes to the Paragon. I know right now it's just this Midnight and the Ember colorway, but I do know they have some fun colors coming down the pipeline. Nice grips on the sides, interchangeable buttons, still get very nice protection top and the bottom, very strong MagSafe magnets. As you can see right there, that's some very strong MagSafe magnets, if you could say so right there, and just a nice thin profile when it comes to the Paragon. So just like I stated from the beginning, if you're a person who wants that full coverage, okay, if that's what you want. Also, if you want something a little bit thinner on the Caudabe side, this is where the Paragon fits very nicely. Also on the back, this is going to be scratch resistant. I'm not going to say scratch proof, but I am going to say scratch resistant. I have used the Paragon a lot, just putting it down on desk and, you know, not being so careful with it. And I don't see any scratches when it comes to my Paragon. Not saying they won't happen, but you can't expect to go out there and put it on cinder blocks and drag it around and for it to be scratchless, all right? Scratch resistant, not scratch proof. So this is going to be the Paragon, man. Just really like this. This is my favorite Caudabe case simply because of the way it looks when we talk about full camera plateaus, the fit, how thin it feels in the hands, the overall package. I absolutely love the Paragon. Now, next up, hashtag Sheath gang. You guys already know when it comes to the Sheath. Bang, bang, Sheath gang when it comes to it. This is going to be the Caudabe Sheath. This is going to be their medium, I feel like. This is kind of like where the Paragon, well, the Veil and the Paragon are kind of more minimal. The Sheath, I feel like, is going to be right there in the middle when we're talking about protection. Of course, you're going to get this texture. And as I always say, the texture can be all personal opinion, how you feel about the texture, whether it's too rough, whether it doesn't offer enough grip. That really just depends on you and how you feel about it. It's going to give you that full cutout when we are talking about camera control. All right, so not camera control, camera plateau, all of these different terms that they do just gets on my damn. You get what I'm talking about, all right? Full coverage there. On the sides, once again, interchangeable buttons. We don't really got to check the buttons because they all work just as good. Very nice color match camera control button. Nice soft line when it comes to the inside. Let's go ahead and pop this. it doesn't give you that snap simply because of the material that this case is made out of. But the sheath also looks very good, in my opinion, when we are talking about the look. This camera coverage just looks very clean. Once again, you can see the color of your actual iPhone 17 Pro Max through the camera plateau, and I think that's just a good look. You're gonna have that little Caudabe branding right there, and overall, good feeling in hand. Of course, this does feel a little bit more substantial in your hand than the Paragon. Just like I stated, this is kind of right there in the middle when we're talking about that protection. I mean, buttons, very nice when it comes to the buttons. Camera camera control. Once again, very nice camera control. No issues there. Feels a little bit more bulky in hand, but in my opinion, it's not bad. Feels very, very good. And once again, I forgot, I'll add the weights plus the cases and all of that in the top corner so you can kind of got an idea of what they weigh with the case and the actual phone themselves. You know, just because some of you care about the weight, okay? Weight matters to some of you guys. But here is the sheath. I think it feels very good. It looks very good. It has a very tight fit also, super tight fit, all right? Very nice tight fit, no pulling and tugging when it comes to it. This texture, once again, man, it's gonna be a love-hate relationship because a lot of you think it might not be enough grip. I think it's just fine when we're talking about this texture. So when it comes to the sheath, when it comes to the magnet, I mean the sheath, I feel like the Paragon might have a slightly stronger magnet, or they're about to be the same, but overall, you can hear that magnet kind of snap up there and give you that reassurance that the magnet is up there connected. I do think it feels pretty good when we're talking about the magnet. Once again, this is going to be a little bit thicker than what you're going to get out of the Paragon. Right now, they're going to give you a few more colors than you can get than the Paragon. It's going to give you this sheath. They're going to have a black. They're also going to have a blue color as well. So you can kind of mix them, you know, every iPhone kind of has its own color. So no cosmic orange, all right, no ember, okay, but any of these colors are going to look very good when you're talking about that cosmic orange. So here's going to be the Caudabe Sheath, in my opinion. Just a very clean case overall, minimalistic, get the job done, and just a nice look, in my opinion, when it comes to a case. Very minimal, simple. And I know a lot of people say, well, it's boring. What do you want? A case that has busy things going on with it? Then you complain that the case is doing too much. Very nice minimal case for those who want it. And of course, last but not least, we got to think of a hashtag for the synthesis, all right? Hashtag synthesis, I don't know. Think about it in the comment section, let me know, man. But the synthesis is one case that I love. This was my first love. This is what really truly brung me to Caudabe when it came to the synthesis. And finally, they listened and gave us a frosted synthesis where I think they did such a good job when it comes to the frost on this synthesis. So bravo to them. The synthesis is going to be their more heavy duty, bulky type case. I know a lot of people got the synthesis, T is too boxy, T is too bulky, the screen lip is too big. That is all done on purpose, guys. This case is meant to be the protective case, all right? So therefore, it's gonna have all of those characteristics when we are talking about that type cases. Very nice frost on the outside, all right? Very good. You see that MagSafe print there. On the side, they're gonna give you nice grips. I love that Caudabe thinks about grip. A lot of cases don't think about grip when it comes to their cases. Caudabe kind of keeps that in the front of their mind and gives you good grip when it comes to cases. So that is very good. Of course, interchangeable buttons. Once again, I thought this was my version with the actual silver buttons, but this is the black one. This is my second one that I have right here, but the silver looks very good with this set. Matter of fact, let me just go get it so we can just stop talking about it. All right, so here we go, man. This is the one that you guys seen on the channel, and I love that it has those silver buttons because in my opinion, when you slap this bad boy on, very nice snap. It looks so good with the silver frost, with the silver buttons. I feel like this is one of the cleanest colorways that you can do, color combinations when it comes to the actual synthesis. So let's go ahead and take a look at this case. Just like I stated, when you throw this bad boy on, there is gonna be weight, all right? I'm not here to say it's not. There will be weight when it comes to this combo right here, but that is done on purpose. Very nice substantial lip around the front. With that tempered glass screen protector on it, it does have a very good lip that goes all the way around, so that lay on table protection is there. Of course, interchangeable buttons, because you see I swapped these out for the silver so it can match the silver 17 Pro Max. In my opinion, that works good and looks beautiful. Camera control button, of course, just as good as any other buttons that we have out there in the market. Now, when it comes to the synthesis, they're going to have a different grip pattern than the Paragon, than the synthesis, than the sheath. And this pattern mimics very closely to the actual Veil when we're talking about the grips. But these grips are very subtle. They don't dig in your hand, they don't feel sharp in your hand, and it really gives you a chance to grip this Synthesis very good when we are talking about in hands. Just feels very good. And the camera plateau, as you can see here, this is going to be an open camera plateau. Hopefully in the future, they do come out with a full camera plateau coverage with a frosted case. I feel like nobody out there is doing that right now, and that's just something for them to do to take over that request if that's what people want. But camera cutout, as you can see for the camera plateau, your cutouts on the bottom is going to be good to go. So just like I stated, man, this is going to be your more of a thicker style case. The Synthesis is going to be your heavy duty case with those thick lips, the more boxy feel when you're talking about holding it, the more material on the sides. That's all done on purpose to make this feel a little bit boxy. Is that going to be for everybody? No, but the Synthesis is such a good case, and it's hard to discredit it because this case literally does everything right in my opinion. I think it has the strongest MagSafe out of all of them. Nice frosted backs, nice clicky buttons, nice camera control, very tight fit, all right? All of these fits fit very good when it comes to these cases. Let me swipe out that right there. All of these fits work. They just feel very, very tight. And that's what you expect when it comes to Caudabe cases. So overall, the Synthesis is going to be that difference look, all right? With these backs, you're going to get something different on every single one of these back. When it comes to the Synthesis, it's going to be that frost, more thicker, heavy-duty style type feel and material. Sheath, middle of the ground, okay? Not too bulky, not too thin. Give you that nice kind of flexible material, but still has a very tight fit and just that classic sheath that we always know to love. Paragon, all right? This is my favorite case out of the lineup. Gives you that thin, tight fit, gives you a different look, a different feel. Camera pack, toe cover, gives you a different feel that I just love the Paragon on how thin it feels. And I think the thinness just trumps all when it comes to these cases. And the Veil, okay? The Veil is here. I just love the Veil because it's giving you that very thin type of, just give me some type of protection when it comes to my case. So that's going to be the case lineup for Caudabe for the 17 Pro Max. If you have any questions regarding these, all right, that's what these videos are for. So hopefully you was able to tell the difference in all these cases. Hopefully it made you make a decision on what case, all right, that you like. And in my opinion, if I have to give the rankings for all these cases, I think the Paragon is the first one that I love. I love the Synthesis next, probably my best, the Sheath, and then the Veil. That's my ranking that I give what I like about these Caudabe cases. So hit the link down below. Of course, the links for all of these will be down below. If you have any questions, that's what these videos are for. So I can answer any question, and you guys know I try my best to get to all of my comments. Any questions you have about the Caudabe case lineup, ask them down below. And if you want to see the dedicated videos to these, they'll be down below, but I'll pop them up around here so you can also see the dedicated videos for, of course, the Paragon, Sheath, and the Synthesis.